Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Governor of Delta State Ifeanyi Okowa lashes out at politicians calling for a coup d'etat. Says Nigerians should see them as enemies of the country. Nigerian Air Force fighter jets bombard Boko Haram logistics base in Sambisa, Borno State. Some terrorists may have been killed. Lack of power supply cripples businesses in Nasarawa State. Indigents cry out for help. And US President Donald Trump asked Muslim leaders to unite in the war against terror. We begin tonight with reactions and alleged moves by some military personnel to remove the government of the day through a coup d'etat. Although the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has condemned this, warning officers to bury such ideas, the Governor of Delta State, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, told newsmen today that any politician wooing the military to take over is an enemy of the country. He called on Nigerians to mobilize and fight against such moves, saying that what President Muhammadu Buhari needs now is prayer. The governor spoke on the sidelines of a Christian event organized in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
He only knows exactly those who have approached the army, but one thing I know about this country is that God is in charge, and there is no reason for the health of the president. We're supposed to be praying for Mr. President. So if any politician is approaching the army, then that person must be an enemy of God and an enemy of this country. We should pray for the president to stay alive, and I don't think it is of God to pray for your leaders to die. It's God that determines when somebody is going to be taken away and brought back. But I know that what we need to pray for is for the unity of this nation, and it's for the progress of this nation. And that is what I urge everybody to pray about, because Christians have a calling, and that calling is actually to pray for our nation. And if you're praying for our nation, you must pray for the leadership of the nation.
Delta State's Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, as part of efforts to clear the area of remnants of Boko Haram terrorist group in Sambisa Forest, the Nigerian Air Force components of Operation Lafia Dole has bombarded an area suspected to be a logistics base of the terrorists. The bombardment was conducted following an intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance mission in the area. In a statement, the Air Force Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Olatokunbo Adesoya, says during the surveillance, a black vehicle and some terrorists were sighted on the fringes of the forest. Upon confirmation that they were attempting to build a logistics base, fighter aircraft were immediately called in to carry out strikes on the location. The Air Force added that some of the structures and vehicles on the location were destroyed in an inferno, while several Boko Haram terrorists were possibly killed by the strikes. However, as peace returns to Yobe State, northeast Nigeria, the Victim Support Fund is reconstructing public infrastructure destroyed by the insurgents. At the flagging-off ceremony in Buniyadi, the headquarters of Gujba local government area of Yobe State, the Executive Secretary of VSF, Professor Sunday Ochoche, says the project will gulf 170 million naira. When completed, he says, it will speed up resettlement of the displaced persons in the affected areas.
During the reign of the Boko Haram in the northeast, communities were under siege, structures were destroyed, and residents fled their homes for safety. Now, peace has returned, and the locals are back to their shattered homes and infrastructure. The Nigeria Foundation for the Support of Victims of Terrorism, VSF, is in Buniyadi, Yobe State, to reconstruct public infrastructure destroyed by the insurgents. The secretary of the foundation reveals that the federal government will also provide farm inputs to the returnees.
We want to take it one at a time so we don't overspread ourselves. That's not to say it's the only project that we are doing. Like you already heard, we have the women economic empowerment going on. You have the agri project that we are going to expand. You have the education project we are going to expand. So there are many other things we are doing.
The state government appeals to the VSF for more efforts to return and resettle the displaced people in the state and assured the agency of its support in actualizing its set objectives.
This singular act of rehabilitation and renovations of these structures is a step forward towards bringing back life into this community, especially Bunyadi. We all know the level of destruction in Bunyadi. And like they said, for you to renovate the secretariat, you are now opening up for the people in the grassroots to reach government. And for that, personally, I feel very elated, I'm very happy and very impressed with this effort.
Residents of Bunyadi are thankful, and they believe that the intervention will indeed go a long way in improving the conditions of the IDPs.
We really appreciate the attendance here in Bunyadi. As of last year, they even brought us seeds and fertilizers and some food items to Bunyadi, and this is their second coming here to Bunyadi.
Returning IDPs have continued to flock the area, and the requirements, apart from the intervention by the VSF, is provision of health services and facilities, not forgetting farm inputs, including empowerment schemes to help assist the people in improving their means of livelihood.
Staying in northern Nigeria, the Emir of Kano, His Royal Majesty Muhammadu Sanusi II, has recommended education, agriculture and industrialization as the only way to restoring Kano State's lost economic commercial glory. During the opening ceremony of the Kano State Golden Jubilee Conference, the Emir acknowledged the efforts of Governor Abdullahi Ganduje towards various economic initiatives. He also reveals that the Emirate Council, in collaboration with Dangote Group, is working to provide 50 megawatts of solar energy for the state. Kano government officials, senior members of Kano Emirate Council, diplomats and top government functionaries converge here to deliberate solutions to the state's economic challenges.
We need to recognize that for demographic reasons, our best model is that which relies on small holdings and maximizes productivity and income of peasant farmers. Putting them together as cooperatives and trust groups will allow scale economies in land preparation, harvesting, storage and marketing. But they must retain ownership of their land and be given training, high-yield varieties of seeds, fertilizers, and agronomic information.
For the host governor, the plan of his government is to change the economic landscape of Kano to include creation of sustainable economic opportunities, harness the youth potentials, empower women and farmers across the state.
This administration is ever determined to change the economic landscape of Kano with the lean trade resources at our disposal, but with the needed cooperation from our development partners, we can make it to happen.
In the next 2 days, it is expected that the Kano conference will come up with a workable document that will suggest various aspects of economic and trade opportunities for Kano and the entire northern Nigeria. As the rainy season approaches, residents of Mieti community in Rigasa, a suburb of Kaduna metropolis, are worried about a gully erosion they describe as a threat to their lives and socio-economic activities. The residents fear that over 200 houses may face extinction if government does not address the issue as soon as possible.
This is Mieti, a community in Rigasa, Igabi North local government area of Kaduna State. This community is located in the heart of Kaduna metropolis. But a major ecological disaster threatens to rob residents of the community of land, infrastructure and properties. This community has been grappling with the effects of erosion for nearly 20 years. Major roads in the area have been destroyed by erosion. Residents watch helplessly as gully erosion threatens to swallow up their homes.
It's affecting our home, especially rainy season. Most of our houses will fall down, and sometimes our son, they used to fall down and die. Our children used to fall down, then they would die at the end.
The threat on the roads, which are now on the verge of total collapse and have become death traps, claimed the lives of 3 children during the rainy season last year. The residents want the federal and state governments to come to their aid as lives and property are endangered.
There's no, in fact, it's very hard to be moving. It always stopped the movement of vehicle, motorcycle, and even moving by the foot. It's always become difficult whenever it is raining.
Meanwhile, the spokesman for the Kaduna State government says the problem requires the intervention of the federal government through the use of ecological funds or other related interventions for adequate control and management.
We have received reports and photographs, and we have also visited the site. And as a matter of urgency, the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources are equally working on a brief to have a better or detailed understanding of the whole matter.
Mr. Arwan assures them that the state government will do all it can to confront the ecological disaster headlong. But while the Kaduna State government is mapping out solutions to the problem, the residents of Mieti live in fear that their homes and property will be consumed by the gully erosion.
We head to the Niger Delta now, where Bayelsa, an oil-rich state in the region, appears to be facing the challenge of eliminating illegal refineries from the state. The government has taken up the challenge by clamping down on the owners of such refineries while ensuring that low-quality petroleum products do not get into the market. He warns those patronizing dealers and the dealers themselves to stop robbing the state and the nation of its economic wealth.
Boko Fire, another name for illegal refineries, is said to be the source of the low-quality petroleum products you find around town in Bayelsa State. The governor, Sereke Dixon, is moving to stop this occurrence. A new Petroleum Task Force Committee is inaugurated by the governor with the objective of shutting down and bringing the full weight of the law on any service station in the state that sells low-standard products.
Make sure, number one, that petroleum products of all kinds that are sold in this state are of the right quality, because they sell a lot of fire diesel and fire fuel. Now I don't see why that should happen in this state.
The state chairman of the Petroleum Task Force Committee says his office has regularly received complaints from the public regarding the negative effects the use of these products has on their vehicles and generators. These concerns prompted the committee to pay unscheduled visits to most petrol stations.
Where's the manager?
It has come to our knowledge that most of the filling stations in Bayelsa State are using adulterated products. So we are hereby taking the samples of the stations to go to lab to go and test. We think from now to Tuesday we'll get results. We are going outside the state, Port Harcourt, to go and get the test. Because they will be dealt with, their station will be sealed off. Because for destroying other people's vehicle.
The lesson for the petrol stations that will be shut down at the end of this exercise is that life is more important than money.